and welcome. I am Mikey. Today we've got a little talking point for you. I recently received a comment online and it's a really interesting one. I did a video about how the South turned Republican. It was a reaction to a PragerU little mini documentary sort of information video, which I found really interesting. But I got a really sort of angry comment asking why anyone who wasn't in the United States would actually care at all about American political parties. And he went on to describe that actually, there aren't just two parties, not just a two-party system, there are more parties and so on. And he was quite upset by the fact that I did a reaction video or I talked about at all American parties. And look, so I that's fine. I love comments. And the reason I'm making this video is I am explaining why, and I thought it would be a really interesting video to make, why I think talking about American parties is actually really an interesting topic, and a topic that more people should really focus on. It might not make the most entertaining commentary, but it is something of importance, and I think you guys might really enjoy listening about my opinions as to why I'm interested in American politics and American parties. And the biggest reason why is because the United States is by far the most powerful and impressive country the world has ever seen. It has such vast amounts of power throughout the entire globe that actually to talk about American politics and American political parties is extremely important in really ascertaining what's happening around the world. I'll give you an example. If you look at a country, let's go with Moldova, nothing against the country of Moldova, but who is the president or the prime minister in Moldova? Do you know, is it a president or a prime minister? Is there a king? Is there a queen? Do you know? I certainly don't, honestly, and I'm quite well informed when it comes to sort of understanding of world politics. But I don't know. The reason being is because no matter what happens in Moldova, realistically speaking, there is no large change in the dynamic of the world and the way the world works. Whether a left-wing politician is elected in Moldova or a right-wing politician is elected in Moldova, it does not change the political and economic landscape of the entirety of Europe, North America, Asia, etc. So the reason why it's such an important topic to talk about American politics, because the economic policy and the foreign policy of the United States really shapes how the rest of the world works. Joe Biden, for example, chose to pull out the troops completely out of Afghanistan very quickly. It was a debacle, and what you have now because of that decision is you have what used to be the Taliban and still are the Taliban are as well armed as the US military. They have AMRAPs, MRAPs, they have M4 rifles, they have body armor, they have genuinely good kit, stuff that most modern militaries do not have, and the United States and a lot of NATO countries are the only countries that have that advanced kind of military equipment. And now a militia group known as the Taliban has access to that, and that is a decision that was made by one man or a group of men in the White House from an American political party that has shaped the entire political and security landscape of the Middle East and therefore the world. So that is a really great example. There's never been a situation where a leader of, let's say, Italy now, a decision made in Italy, and Italy is a relatively powerful NATO country, it would not change the landscape of the European economy, much less the world. The American political system has the ability to do that because of such close economic and military ties to the rest of the world. And I find that to be a really interesting thing. I think it's actually something to be proud of rather than being angry at a foreigner for talking about American political parties. And the history is actually something very interesting, because you see the mindset of each political party is actually very much rooted in the history of America and the sort of colonization of the United States by countries such as France, England, or the British Empire, should I say, and the French Empire. So that's why it's such an important thing to do. And actually, it's quite an interesting topic. American politics are more animated and more divisive at the moment than a lot of other countries. You see in the UK, we have trouble with prime ministers and with, right versus left or conservative versus the Labour Party, but nothing is really as animated and as reported as it is in the United States. And I find that very interesting because of the way the American political system works. It varies very much to European style politics, where actually to be elected as Prime Minister in the United Kingdom, there aren't really campaigns where they go around the country and they speak to different parts of the country. They do go visit places and do hold talks and conferences and stuff like that, but it's nowhere near on the scale that it is when people are running for either the primaries or for political office in the United States. And that's why I think it's a really interesting topic to talk about, because of its vast difference. And the difference is as well is that actually currently in the United States, what you have two parties that are completely opposing. One has gone further to the left, and one's got I wouldn't say it's gone further to the right, but it's considered to be further to the right than most other European nations. For example, if you look at the United Kingdom, and this is a topic that I'd like to talk about because this is where I'm from, you have the Conservative Party and the Labour Party, and the Conservative would be just slightly right of centre, and the Labour Party would be slightly left of centre. In fact, most of the policies they actually agree on. You will see the Conservative Party actually implementing more socialist policies than you would the Conservative or the Republican Party implementing in the United States, because no matter how conservative a Conservative Party is in the UK, although more capitalist than a lot of other countries in Europe, is primarily a socialist country. Not to such an extent that you would think, the devil's socialism. They have socialist tendencies like the NHS and things like that. So that's why I think it's so important to talk about American politics. People might not care if they're around the world, but the reality is that I am currently living in the Middle East. I am from the UK, and whenever I see a news report on my phone from BBC World or wherever it might be from Apple News, it talks a lot about President Biden did this, President Trump did this, this is what's happening in American policies, this law's been overturned. When was the last time, as an American, you picked up your phone without voluntarily searching for it and seen a piece of British news other than the royal family? Because that's a worldwide thing. But when was the last time you heard anything about what Rishi Sunak has done recently in Parliament? You won't have done, because although the UK is a vast and powerful country, it has nowhere near the power and influence that the United States has. And that's why it's important to talk about it, and I really enjoy talking about it. It's a really interesting topics and contentious issues that are being debated now within American politics. And although it might be volatile and it's a rabbit hole that you get into and people start to shout at each other, I've never really been one to be upset by someone shouting at me. So that's why I talk about it. And also most of my viewership base are American. So actually I'm talking about completely American topics. So there's no reason why politics isn't one of the topics that I will talk about. I'm not going to reveal my political stances too much. I don't want to alienate anybody or cause a channel that is meant to be for fun, entertainment and a bit of information turn into something that's completely divisive, because that's, it doesn't benefit me and it doesn't benefit you. So that's why I talk about these things. I really enjoy it, and I hope you guys do too. And if I try not to talk too much about politics, but American parties really is not debating any issues. It was more of a historical context. So that's my point, and I hope you guys enjoy it too. Let me know down in the comments what you think, and I really hope that you stay and see the next video. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I really hope to see you in the next